talk, actually the panel set up this session very well. What I'm going to talk about is how do we leverage touch points in a seamless way in a phygital world, because, I mean, we are online, we are offline. When we are online, we are in different contexts at different points in time. So the consumer is still the same. So how do we make our brand more relevant to these different contexts in which the consumer is navigating his or her life online and offline? So first, some big numbers. Yeah, so some big numbers first. We are expected to be 900 million internet users by 2025. We are about 622 right now. So that's exponential growth over the next 3 or 4 years. In terms of, this is really moving slower than, yeah. So in terms of transactions, we are expected to touch 500 million, which is higher than the population of US. That's about 48% growth over the next 3 to 4 years. So we are talking about some real big numbers here in terms of how internet, how digital is going to explode. And with 5G, sorry, I missed this point. By 2025, we are going to have 50% of urban TVs which are going to be smart TVs. It's just 30 million households right now have smart TVs. 50% are going to have smart TVs. What that means is our number of touch points and the way those touch points are going to interact with us are going to absolutely balloon. And so will the questions around the ROI that each of these is going to give to us. I understand this is a MarTech conference, so therefore all of you are interested in the digital strategy of brands, but the fact is digital strategy works within an overall marketing strategy, and your budgets are linked to how much the overall marketing budgets are and where and how X touch point works versus Y touch point, and I'm sure those are the questions that you face in every budget discussion that you have. What this is telling us is that those questions are going to become even more important as we go forward. And 5G is going to provide the infrastructure which will create an absolutely connected digital environment. So from my Kirana store to my connected television to my mobile, everything will be connected. And the challenge is going to be, I mean, we talk about a lot of these, I mean, social listening, stacks, etc. But the fact is, the walls are going to become bigger and bigger. There is no process today that can actually follow a consumer through the entire journey, because you will always hit a wall. Amazon will have its own data, Facebook will have its own data, Google will have its own data, and you will have to choose which truth to believe. Hotstar will have its own data, OTT players are going to have their own data, so that single source of truth, that holy grail, is not going to happen. It's in fact going to become even more difficult to have that holy grail. And that's where it's important to have a consumer in view of this entire complex landscape. And I think this point was made in the panel previously as well, the minority of touch points actually deliver the majority of impact. So about 20% of the touch point deliver the maximum impact. So the need to do a few things, but to do it very well is extremely important. And therefore, the need to be very judicious about where you invest your monies is going to be extremely important. There's a lag in my clicker. And I want to illustrate it through a case study of a beauty brand. Now, this used to be a typical journey for a beauty consumer in earlier days. There used to be, it's a very linear journey. There used to be a consideration, I want to buy something. There used to be an evaluation phase, and let's say I want to buy a skin cream. There used to be an evaluation phase. I will evaluate multiple brands that are there. There's a purchase moment, and there is a post-purchase experience, whether I'm happy or I'm not happy. And if I'm happy, I'll probably buy the same brand again. If I'm not happy, I'll switch a brand. It was much easier to understand and follow this journey. This journey has completely changed. This journey today is extremely non-linear. So it actually starts probably where I'm online and I discover a trend, and there's some ingredient that's getting spoken about in one of the communities that I'm a part of. And then I sort of go deeper into it. I discover something else. I end up in Nykaa's page. I learn something more. I search for it on Myntra, and I just go on. And I may end up still buying it offline. So I may not buy it online, but 9 out of 10 cases, that journey is getting influenced in some form or the other by digital. And just look at the non-linearity of the journey. You are doing different things. So earlier, the consideration you had to hit when something got over. Today, it doesn't. It can hit at any point in time. It can even be created online. And that's the power which brands probably need to use a lot more to create the need itself when the consumer is digitally active. And digital touchpoints, the impact of digital touchpoints is actually increasing. If you look from 2017 to 2021, it has gone up from 36% to 49%. That's the scale of increase of the impact of digital touchpoints. There are different touchpoints, and I'll just quickly show you a glimpse of that. But yeah, this is a short video that actually gives you an idea of how what this actually means. Oh, sorry, this is today not working too well, I guess. I'm sorry. Guys, you have to help me with the clicker, please, or maybe navigate the slides on your own. Just play this video. Okay, play it. Yeah, so just go to the next slide, please. Next slide, please. Next slide. I think we are moving back. We need to move forward. We are moving back. We need to move forward. Not so forward. Let's move back a bit. Let's move, just go back a bit. Go back a bit. Just stay here. It's okay. I'll manage it. So this is actually the span of attention, which has gone from 12. So your screen, okay. Yeah, this is the span of attention, which has gone from 12 seconds to 8 seconds now. So that is the kind of time frame that you have to actually make an impact. Can we go to the next slide, please? And this is an interesting point, which is, this comes from a global survey that we do, which is called the Media Reaction Survey. What it does is it meets marketers across the world and tries to understand how they see the equity of various online platforms. What that means is the consumer positively or negatively predisposed to that platform in their view? And so what this shows is that the more intrusive advertising is, the lower is its equity. The lower is the equity that it delivers. But intrusiveness is needed for cut-through. So that balance between intrusiveness and receptivity becomes extremely important. And if you go to the next slide, please, what we have found is we have mapped top ad equity performers by market. In India, it's actually Google, for obvious reasons, and there are not many which are that large anyway. But across markets, you do find many. I mean, you have Wall Street Journal, for example, in US. So this is only going to fragment more and more as we go along. Next slide, please. Next slide, I think. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, this is moving in a different direction. Okay, and this is an interesting thing. Influencer content is what today is being seen as the #1 in building ad equity. And it has actually gone up by 6 points. And if you have any questions about this study, I'll be happy to take it after this session. But it has a lot of this data for India as well. Let's move to the next slide. 26% of urban Indians actually follow influencers on social media platforms, and many of them follow as many as 4 influencers. If you go to the next slide. So average number of influencers followed is actually 7.5, and you can see the split of it. So many of them follow as many as 5 influencers. 40% are following as many as 5 influencers. And this is only going to grow as we move along. Next slide, please. But so the stakes are really, really high. And why they are high is because if you get it wrong on digital, you really get it wrong. What this is telling us is the top 20% performing ads on digital have about 8.7% impact on each of the brand metric, but the bottom ones have negative impact. If I show a similar slide for television, the negative impact is completely limited. So it has positive impact, but the negative impact is limited. On digital, there's a strong negative impact. So to get it wrong on digital really can make life very difficult for a brand. Next slide, please. So it's not just what you communicate, it is where you communicate and how that matters. And this is data It's from all the cross media. Cross media is the only tool available which actually maps a consumer across all the media touchpoints, offline and online. This is data from cross media that shows 50% of driver of salience of a brand is creative quality, 25% is reach, 16% frequency, and 9%, and that's very important, is media synergy. So when you're planning media, and if you're planning it in a synergistic way, there is a 9% impact that media synergy itself plays. Of course, 50% is creative quality. So if you get your creative quality wrong, you can put as much media as you want. It's not going to work if you get your messaging wrong. Next slide, please. And creative transference from TV to online video is like flipping a coin. And that's really important, because mostly what we do, we take the same television ad, we edit it, and we put it online. We do A/B testing, or Google sends us some metrics, and we are very happy. But that does not move the brand metrics. And so it's almost like flipping a coin. So next slide, please. Digital is way more effective. The panel spoke about it. I'm giving you the data. Digital is way more effective when it is integrated campaign, built for that context. There's about a 67% impact when that happens. Next slide, please. So the 4 broad learnings that we have is omni-channel is not just omnipresence. Please look at online and offline consumer as the same person who is just traveling a path, and ensure that we are reaching out to him in a seamless manner. Second, content transference does not happen seamlessly. Of course, you can have X team, Y team, Z, and that's the whole challenge. The entire thing operates in such silos. First, digital and non-digital operate in silos. Within digital, platforms operate in silos, but the consumer doesn't operate in silos. So content transference does not happen seamlessly. Embrace the nature of each platform and the touch points within it, and genuinely be meaningfully different as a brand, be it you're offline or you're online. So I am done, despite all the clicker problems. I just have a short plug for Kantar, because that's what we do, the last slide, which is that we help maximize the entire journey from strategy to measuring impact. And I do want to talk about the fact that we help measure impact and ROI so that you can have better budget conversations when you go to ask for monies for your platform, for your digital, whether you are a publisher, whether you are an ad sales guy, whether you are a marketer, digital marketer, that's the tool to use. So that's it from me, and I think I'm 2 minutes under. So thank you, and I think we have a short video in the end. We do it all very fast as well. So that's the short video on our marketplace solution. Thank you.